have to do. You have to look yourself in the mirror and face the things that you need to get fixed and press on together. And I thought the energy and the focus and the leadership of our older guys was what it needed to be, and we just got to keep working hard every day. So excited to get us back on the field and get a chance.
Obviously, the biggest question is the status of Michael Penix.
Yeah, we'll probably know more today and tomorrow. We do some things with him in terms of evaluation-wise. I think would really help us a lot to get a good gauge. So don't know exactly the status for Saturday yet, but we should know more here pretty soon.
Coach, you've kind of talked about Cam Jones a few times in the last couple of weeks, but has he kind of really, in the way that he's tried to get back on the field, has he kind of set the tone in some type of way for the locker room when it comes to situations?
He has, because I talked about him again yesterday in a team meeting, because just using him as an example, because here's the reality. You go through, and he's still young, and he did something that injuries are part of this game. I mean, it's just part of it, and that will never cease to be the case. And so to show and have a guy you can say this is how it's done, and it also makes our guys realize the quality of trainers and doctors that we have working with our guys. And if you just buy into doing everything exactly like we ask you to do, and I would say and then some. He took the and then some part, and he went to where he was so determined to get back and play. And like I said, injuries are a tough thing, and everybody's different. Every injury's a little different. That was his ankle. And but still, I mean, it was not pretty optimistic that he was going to play when it first happened to getting back from Ohio State. So to what he did and the amount of hours he spent rehabbing and just doing everything he possibly could, and he proved that he was ready once we did all of his tests and everything. So, but yeah, just a great. I think it elevates things, and it increases a standard, and almost kind of intensifies and makes that standard even higher about how you handle an injury, and doing everything you possibly can to get back as fast as you can. That's our philosophy.
What in particular stood out about practice this week in terms of the problems that you need to address?
Yeah, first of all, spent a lot of time on run fits on defense, and even again today, and just even adjusting things we're doing schematically to address it, as well as worked on more on tackling drills, did an additional tackling drill that we created off of some of the mistakes we've had, and then to me that was the overemphasis on fixing the fits, the tackling, and shoring up that part of the defense. And then to me, run game, just trying to continue to, spend time in the offensive line meeting room and talking to different guys and just meeting with, just trying to get those things fixed, and it's schematic things we're working on through and trying to adjust and tweak, and then just also sustain our blocks, being finishers on those blocks, which sometimes what it comes down to, and getting a great push and get off, and working on our double teams, and working on just trusting. The thing about O-line play that is so unique about it is it is a chemistry-driven group, and as those guys work together, and if you really think about the group, when you take out your, last year's right tackle and left guard, you took away the guys that worked together. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that sometimes you maybe have the whole left side back or the whole right side back, but we had, so where they're all kind of working together side by side. And I just think that does take time, so we just got to get better at that. And they got their communication, and they're trusting each other, and they're being able to whether it's a combo or whether scoop, cut off, all the different kind of blocks that they use, and the communication that they have to have. So just another week getting better at it, working on it, isolating some things, trying to do some things to help and make it better schematically and structurally. And so those are the two key things we really addressed. Worked really, really hard on this week.
Has Michael been able to participate in practice, or has it been strictly rehab?
Yeah, no, he's been participating some, but not much. So we got certain roles that we have him do and things as a part of practice. But no, right now it's been a major emphasis on the rehab piece, and then a major emphasis on the mental piece of getting him ready to go.
As far as the running game, have you been able to identify really what the actual issues have been for you guys?
Well, the bottom line is I do feel like that we have not gotten a lot of separation up front. Okay, so it's the push off the football, and to me is create structural answers to make them pay for overloadness. That to me is what I want to really see us do a better job of being able to take advantage of the perimeter and take advantage of the matchups that those create. And to me, that's the two key things that stick out to me. As I go through and watch it, which I do a lot. Went through last night and watched again. I go through, obviously, I see it practice, and I watch all the defensive reps with the defensive staff, and then I watch all the offensive reps myself, and some of that I see it live. But going back and watching all the reps in practice, which that's about 60 reps on each side of the football, 2 separate days combined. So you're talking about a whole bunch of plays, 240 some plays. Just watching and go back and taking notes and just making sure we're going through and getting things fixed up and cleaned up. So I just feel like that to me is just the push, the working together, knowing when to stay on a double team, when to come off on a double team, whenever to even in the pass pro things that we had some trouble with on Saturday. And I just think that's just continue to work through it. And I want to see us getting the ball on the perimeter. I think that to me is a big help to get some pressure off the core. What we're really trying to emphasize.
Is it surprising to you how much teams have loaded up the box? I mean, even going back to Ball State,
Yeah.
considering the passing numbers you guys had last year, what you brought back in the past games,
Sure.
does it surprise you how much people have started?
Yeah, they have, and then I think, when someone does it and then has some level of success with it, I think then everybody starts copying it, So, but yeah, it has surprised me a little bit. But I guess, you come back and you like Stevie, and there's just so much emphasis on taking him away. And so that's what they've been over determined to do. And so, yeah, it's probably more than I would have thought in the beginning.
You talked about giving up the defensive reins. Kind of ask me later in terms of how it feels. I mean, when you give up as many points as you did last week, I mean, is it hard?
Well, it didn't feel very good on Saturday.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that. Okay, and so, but here's the thing, though, and this is what I don't ever want to do, and I haven't, is I don't second guess a call that we did. Now, I'm going through and working really hard. We made some changes now, okay, and some things that I just said, I want to do this, I want to see us do this, this, and this. And I'm not calling it, but I did. I've stepped in because this is what I, do and everything. And so, but at the same time, it's because I wanted us to be able to do what we need to do against the very best on our schedule. And so, yeah, it was not a whole lot of fun, not being the one calling it in that kind of situation, because at the end of the day, I'm responsible. So, I do feel still like that it's just helped in so many ways for me to be able to be a better head coach. Even this week, addressing both sides of football, special teams, meeting with players, getting time with them. Those are things we have to do, as well as getting the defense right. So, first couple weeks, work through things, but I expect it to kind of settle down a little bit this week here and then get back into our flow of being where we want to be.
I don't want to get ahead because Big Ten play starts the following week, trip to East Lansing. What do you need to see from your team this week on both offense and defense to feel good about going into Big Ten?
Yeah, for me, being crisp and sharp, and what that means to me is, yes, creating seams in the run game, okay, and then the play action that we have off of that. To me, just that the rhythm of that is what I want to see. I want to see our offense in a good rhythm where we have good ability to feel like we can keep that defense off balance and stay out of those long yardage situations. Stay on schedule, as we like to say on that side of the ball. And then defensively, it's stopping the run and being great finishers as tacklers. And that to me is, if we see that, and I'll feel a whole lot different about things than I did obviously the last couple of days from this last experience. So those things that stick out to me, and then consistency in our kicking game. I just want to make sure our specialists are competing at a high level, performing at a high level, and the quality of our kicks and our returns. Our return game has been improved. We got to keep doing a better job with that. That's a big part of field position and things we need to do. So those things on offense, on defense, and then being sharp on special teams.
Marcus Elliott got his first sack this last week. How do you see him continuing to
He's
develop?
really, and he's had a good week of practice this week. I think he's a guy that we knew he as a true freshman played at a high level. The junior college he came from was one of the best in the country, and he was in their rotation, and so played in the national championship game, a whole bunch of reps, and so just thought he could come in here and help us, and he has. I just think it's also learning a new system. He came in late, wasn't even here the entire summer, So, but just getting him, but he's got a burst to him that really sticks out on film, and he has really good technique, and he plays super hard, and he cares a whole bunch. So he's been a great addition to our team. Really, really excited to have him.
Talking about kickoff returns, what's next for David? It feels like, you said you felt like he's been close to breaking
He
a
can
couple
break one.
open.
Just get one. We haven't. I think they said Tevin Coleman's the last one to run one back. So I've challenged our office. Hey, our house call unit this week. Let's get one. He's been close and he's had some, here and there. And so let's because once you get him into the the heart of that unit, then it's about making one guy miss and go score. So I want to see him take one back to the house. That's my next step for him.
We talk about kind of inserting yourself a little more in terms of, is it game planning? Is it telling Kane I want to to blitz at these certain situations, or what types of things are
It's
you?
more, I would say, I'm still going to probably shy away from, hey, call this right now, hey, call this, because there's a rhythm you get into. Now, we'll definitely talk about it when we're in between, halftime adjustments, when we're off the field on the headset. I know how it feels when you're in the middle of a game and someone says, hey, call this. I try and stay away from that. Now there are times when, I'll say, hey, we need pressure. Boom, and he'll dial up the pressure he feels is the best. So, but to me, it's structural things. There's been a lot of, hey, how are we gonna defend this? I want us to look like this. Or I want us to line up like this. I want us to play this type of techniques. That's some things we made some adjustments with that he's, hey, we're all on board with it. And that's the thing. This is what's so neat about our staff. And I say this, and we had this conversation with our guys, and because I came out, I was upset on Sunday. It was a rough, some rough meetings with our coaches because I wasn't happy with the way we performed. We just didn't. At the end of the day, it's my responsibility. So, but during those hard conversations, as I have said from the very beginning, the LEO concept isn't just the players. Okay, it's us too, as coaches. And when it's not about me, and I don't care who gets the credit, it's about what do we got to do to be our best. So you don't take it personal, but you're going to work your tail off to make sure your area is right. And if it's not right, we got to fix it. And that to me is when the coaches know that I care more about them as a person and as a coach and as a guy that just works for me. Okay, it's more than that for us as a coaching staff. And so you don't take it personal, but you have so much pride in what you're all about, and you care so much about the guys around you as coaches that you want to get it right. And it's an emotional thing because we work so hard and we sacrifice so much to get where we are. And to me, we just we had an opportunity and we just didn't take advantage of it. And really, it was very disappointing for sure. But at the same time, I really think that situation, that experience is going to make us better, and that's the way I want to approach it, and that's the way we have approached it. And that's, as I said, I'm excited about what's going to make us from what we just experienced and the way that we, didn't perform. And so those are kind of tough conversations we're having, but it's just, coming together, trying to find what we got to do to be at our best for us to win Big Ten football games, which is our goal.
One of the words that came up in the postgame from some of the players were complacent. If that can happen that early in the season, how can you work to keep that from happening?
Oh, there's no doubt. And to me, that's a little immaturity, and to hear even that thought process, coming out of the first couple of games. But I think at the same time, this is where even it's a great reminder of the youth that we do have, and and as I told our coaches that you sometimes take certain things for granted, okay, but at the same time, you can't when you're young. And I think it's just a great reminder of just how purposeful we have to be as a staff in everything that we do with our guys and the mindset that they have. And the reality is that there's a significant difference, in conference play. So being able to work through that, grow through that, realize even when you start having, a little bit of success, how do you learn, how do you handle that piece of it? And that's part of the growth process, learning how to be successful, learning how to win. Just like you have to learn how to, fight back through setbacks, and those disappointments that you face in life. And so I just think it's just continue to teach these guys how to have a good performance one week and come back and have a better one the next week.
Does that speak to the 80 of your 113 players are underclassmen?
I know. And that's what it is, and absolutely. And you can't, sometimes you forget, because a lot of these guys, they might have played last year, but they're sophomores. Sophomores are still young. I just think that we had a good conversation. One of our true freshman offensive linemen, he's young, and a lot of even a guy like Simon, he spent 2 years on the scout team before he ever even played, and Caleb Jones is his third year here, and now he's finally getting a chance to play, and then Matt Bedford is just a young guy, so you gotta bring those guys, because he's a guy, he's the next snap, he's in the game, right now. And so just continue to teach those guys. And like I said, even some of those guys like the Cam Jones of the world, he's a sophomore, and he's young. And those guys need to continue to be mentored and modeled. And we're not an old football team by any means. And so that's part of, to get to be consistent, there's a maturity to that, at all positions and as a football team. And that's what we got to get to.
All right, thanks.
Awesome.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day, Elio.